Audio is on, everything's on. Okay, there you go.
You need to hear now? Question before you start? Before you record your stuff. Coming soon, post graphics, can they have the address on it?
How early is it being posted?
They're,
I would double check their rules on that because they've started cracking down on it some. I
so
think
just as a CYA, take the address off.
I would just double check. They have the advertising rules on there. I don't post any of our own stuff, so I just say make sure it's compliant whenever they put something out. So
I can't find.
if you get on Bluegrass Realtors, there should be the helpful links or like the actual the back page, not the like the page you log in, not like the Facebook page. But they have a one pager on coming soon. I want to say if you're going to publicly advertise it, it has to be able to be shown within a day. I
Okay,
want to say that's what it auto defaults to, but just double check that and make sure.
yeah, cause they've been in the agreement, Saturday is when it got signed, the 14 days is like. I think the third or fourth or something like that.
Yeah, I would just double check the advertising rules on that. But like I said, if you go to the bluegrassfilters.com, you log in as if you're gonna like pay your dues, and you search the resources, and it should have they have like one pager for coming soon. So if you search within the search bar, it should pull it. Yeah, it's got to be up. The normal auto default on most things related to coming soon, it has to be able to be shown within 24 hours of whatever you're, because a lot of people just ask for forgiveness. It's just certain people are starting to get turned in. So it's one of those things that,
Yeah, we're rule followers, so we're gonna follow them.
yeah, I like that. All right, so session 9, capture more leads. Name of the game. I am gonna steal this because I don't like this in my backs.
We could do that, or that's what Kristen did with that little.
Yes, I need more space than that. Let's see. So this, I wish we still had a clicker, but I can.
Sounds really wrong. Not the first thing.
So on the agenda today, go through a couple different things with respect to capturing more leads, but we'll start with systems that work, prospecting versus marketing and the difference between the two, how to get a gold mine of referrals, more sources for more leads, capturing every lead, and then go through the normal recap and ahas. And if we get some time, chat through the daily success systems. So we're going to cover mainly lead generation. A lot of this has been, in Ignite so far, kind of working with your sphere. This is going to be casting a broader net and what some of those sources might look like. So when we look at what's happened between last session and this session, any wins for like the daily success system wins or any implementation wins or anything like that?
Well, not with. Like. This specifically, but I did get prepared for. Like, sign.
Fantastic.
So.
That's what we want. What was what do you think the source of that was from? Was it a certain activity? Facebook. Very good. And have you done anything to reward the referrer?
Allowed.
In what way?
No, like, giving like gift cards or anything like that. I didn't. It's told that you can't. Pay for referrals.
Can you take them out to coffee?
No, you're not.
Can you send them a nice
I
note?
can send in this note and I will be, because it's essentially my referral, so I got a friend of mine that's in Bedford, Indiana. And I gave her to an agent.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, cool. Well, I think just being able to share in that win with them is a reward in and of itself, right? And the number one rule is reward the referral itself, not when it closes or if you get paid on it. So it's conditioning the person who gives, your name to somebody, whether it closes or not. So anytime somebody ever even says, "Hey, I told somebody at work about you," I am thanking them for that in one way or another, whether it's a card, a thank you, take them out for coffee.
yeah, and I was wondering about that because as someone that's coming out of cosmetology hair, I would always do like business cards and put that person's name on the back of it and be like, hey, when I get 5 of these back,
Yeah,
you get a discounted haircut or
Yeah.
you get whatever. And so I am used to gifting for referrals, but about
yeah, you just want to be careful about what you do, but I mean, at the end of the day,
if you take
I-
them out to coffee, it's different. And
yeah, I mean, all my business primarily stems from past client referrals, sphere referrals, it's like sphere of influence. So, I mean, the line gets gray, like, okay, I went out to the golf course and we're sitting around a table and 3 people are clients and everybody's referring me something. If I pick up the tab for everybody's food and drink, well, that's a business write-off for the meal and a thank you. And I just have to say, hey, this is, my appreciation for you guys and your all's,
business.
giving to my networking and everything that I've done. So, and as long as we talk about real estate, then it's written off. So all that is a good thing,
Good to know.
as ways to be able to do that. So let's get into, oh, is this the quote you're talking about?
Yeah. It's kind of an awkward one.
What about that? What do you feel when you see that?
I think
Yeah. Well,
as somebody who does hunt, I'm like,
I think
I know that I would use that word.
I think the hardest part for a lot of people when they get into this is like gamifying or making it a sport,
Mhm.
being in contact with sphere of influence or additional lead sources. So maybe a little bit of a play on words there. But nevertheless, you love people, but at the same time, you haven't yet learned to love hunting for them. So I think that, speaks to a lot of people will gladly spend 10 hours, socializing, but they don't want to spend 30 minutes trying to figure out how to turn that socializing into capital or revenue for their business. Right. So I've always likened this to, if I went back to my 3rd or 4th grade self and said, you don't know the concept of money like you will when you're 35, but what if I told you you could have everything you want in this world and get paid very well to just go make friends? Would that that 3rd or 4th grader say absolutely and be all in?
Right.
I would have been. If you told me all I got to do all day was make friends, man, that's what we do in real estate. So I love that. So let's get into the systems that work. So your number one job is to find ways to get in the path of motivated buyers and sellers. So a lot of that, what we talked about, is getting into conversations that may land us in front of a prospective buyer or seller. So it's always smart to be reminded that our number one job as real estate agents is lead generation. Without leads, we get no sales, therefore no business. We're in the business of lead generation. So I think it's funny, a lot of times people say, well, I'm a realtor, I sell houses. No, you don't. You generate leads and a house lands in between you and the lead. Or you put the house in between you and the lead, right? So I try to always be hyper aware and alert. So just like hunting, right? I'm hyper aware, I'm alert. It's the same thing. Because I think a lot of people mistake the fact that I might just be at tailgate on Saturday morning at 10 a.m., letting my kids play with my friends' kids. But if I'm hyper aware and alert, and somebody has something that is a triggering conversation that may lead to me being able to add value to them from what I know and what I do, then that's me hunting for business. Perfect example, a guy that we tailgate with all the time, he's got 3 very close friends who are in real estate, called me yesterday. Hey, you gonna be at tailgate? Yes, I am. Also, I'm looking forward to it. Hey, I know you know that I've got somebody that I, obviously have a family relationship to have to use, and yet still, I would like you to take a look at something for me on a purchase that we're making it looking for our business, because that's not tied to the personal. Would you be willing to do that? And he knows that because I've never flat out asked for his business, but I have acknowledged the fact that, hey, I understand you have family relationships you have to be respectful of, and all that being said, if there's ever anything else I can do to help you respect the real estate, I just ask that you let me know how I can help you. Well, he called me, he's like, hey, I know I can't let you get on the house, but we've got some work stuff coming up that I'd like you to take a look at. So just again, hunting, right? But I unashamedly ask for business. It just may not be in the form of like, hey, can I help you buy or sell something? It's just like, hey man, let me know how I can help, right? So they're going to talk about the 2 M's of lead generation, the message and the method. So the slide will depict the system to help make lead generation more purposeful, right? We've talked about in the 6 personal perspectives about how to go from E to P, so entrepreneurial to purposeful. And so when we look at the 2 M's in your participant guide, the message must 1, match your market, and then 2, make an offer for immediate response. So when we think about the message, match my market, make an offer for immediate response. Match the market by tailoring the intended message to the sentiments and market conditions of your target group in the area which you operate. So if you're in Lexington, you're probably gonna have a different message than if you were in Stamping Ground, right? So like tailor it to the market that I'm working in, right? Because there's just not a ton of affordable land in Lexington, but there may be more affordable land in a tertiary county. So just being aware of like where I'm working within that, and then having a call to action that's direct. Call me now. Look at my website to learn more, right? Things that are going to invoke action or push people to make a response or generate a response. So what could be an offer that would generate a response? What would make your phone ring or generate immediate responses to text or social media?
That one's what I'm trying to figure out. But.
I think you've already told me in the open house
Yeah,
session,
like,
an immediate response is offering somebody to tell them what their house is worth. All they've got to do is come see you at the open house. That's what I would say. That would be what they use the acronym for MOFR, make offer for immediate response. Like that would be an example of that.
sometimes I fall into my.
Well, I think you could do the same thing on your social media though. Like any of your past cosmetology clients, hey, wouldn't it be nice to know if you're a homeowner what your house is worth? I can give you a free consultation on what that looks like. I just need you to come meet me at my office, at your office. I can meet you at your house, whatever the case may be. Because that at the end of the day, that's all sellers care about. What's my house worth? Well, if you know how to tell them what their house is worth, then that to me would be an offering that has value that would probably generate a more rapid or immediate response.
Now, if you were to do someone's house CMA, would you just give them that CMA as far as like sitting down and giving it to them? Or would you essentially dangle the carrot and be like, hey, I can give you the CMA, when would you want to list your house, or when are you thinking about listing your house?
I think a lot of that's going to be like situational, you get a feel for, but like if you are going to give them your time and your treasures, then it's one of those things that it's assumed in the moment, and then the goal would be in the follow up behind that. So I don't think I necessarily give somebody an offer for a free home evaluation and then make them tell me, because they may not know.
Yeah.
Right, but they may not be ready to sell until they knew what their house is worth, or they may not know what life is going to throw at them around the corner. But at least having had you give them value of what the house is worth, and then life shows up, then they can revert back and say, "Well, we met 3 months ago, is that different, right? Or that may give you permission to check in with them every 6 months and just give them an updated one. Hey, would you like me to send you one of these every 6 months? Yeah, that'd be great. Cool. Why don't I just, stay in touch between now and then, and then you can create the conversation or the message between those checkpoints, but following up with the home evaluation would be a great thing.
My say fear, but fear is that I would go through all the work of meeting with them, giving them the CMA, and then they would be like, oh, this is how much my house is worth. Let's call up Carrie or Sally.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that is like getting into the relationship piece of it, right? So, like, if it's a complete cold stranger, like maybe there's a different conversation leading up to that than if it's somebody that you know, right? I think most of the people you'd be targeting that would be people you got a relationship with, because that's usually the place that's least looked, but should be most heavily worked, is where I've already got pre-standing relationships. And then, at that point, you gotta go into that thinking, I'm gonna do this expecting nothing in return, yet every action I take is going to be driving them closer to giving me the outcome that I desire. So my mindset is I'm doing this expecting nothing in return, and my actions are gonna speak otherwise, saying everything I do is in anticipation of getting a return. So looking at the method, so there are two primary methods of getting your message out to your target group. There's prospecting and there's marketing, which I believe you all covered at the beginning of the lead generation segment.
Yes.
So we're going to look at this session and how it only covers additional prospecting sources. So obviously, either one you're going to do, you're going to want to time block it. And between both of those, even though we're focusing on prospecting today, you're still going to have to prepare, then you're going to have to take action. And most importantly, you're going to have to maintain any of the work that you do out of that. So next, we're going to look at the hunting for leads. You will find many opportunities when you go look for them, right? So if you're at the coffee shop and you overheard a couple talking about the open house they just visited, what would you do?
Probably would. My business, but I'm learning to ask questions.
Yeah, I
Where did you
mean,
go to an open house? Are you
Correct.
looking for a house?
hey, excuse me, ma'am, miss, sir, I heard you overheard you mention something about an open house. You guys looking for houses in the area? Well, yeah, we just started, or we went. Did you see that house? It's hideous, or it's gorgeous, or whatever. They may say back to you, right? It doesn't really matter what they say. So you have somebody that's helping you look for that house. They may have somebody. Hey, I'm sure everybody's knows three realtors, and I'd love the opportunity to take a look at what you guys are looking for if you wanted to make time for that, right? You could connect with those individuals in a way that might build some more rapport and trust. So again, kind of like that blind conversation leading into how can I build some trust, like looking for opportunities to service them. So, hey, do you have a list of all homes that are listed in the area? Or how did you find that open house? Were you just on Zillow? What does that look like? I'd love to connect with you and see if there was a way that I can keep you informed on every house that comes on the market. And then if it's appropriate, based on the conversation, you could ask to meet with them to learn more about their specific situation, or you might be able to do it right there. Some tips for that might be applying the Ford method. So the family, occupation, recreations, and dreams conversation, that may help you further your relationship with that person. So I know that y'all have discussed briefly or maybe in depth the difference in the prospecting and marketing early sections. Let's go a little bit deeper on the prospecting end of things. So the quote, I'll let you read the quote. This one may not be as awkward.
Lead generation is a contact sport with schools. It means making contact with people through prospecting and marketing.
Perfect. And we obviously know we're going to spend time on the prospecting side today.
It's not flag book.
That's right. Contact sport. So you've probably seen this chart before.
It was in the front classes.
So likelihood of a move and then time, right? So obviously in our industry, real estate is not a renewable annual kind of thing. So we have to get creative in ways that we prospect and market to stay in contact with people. everyone's timelines and life experiences are different. So it's gonna be our job to predict where they are at all times, right? And I think this is what trips most people up. Well, how do I know if they're gonna be in a life event? How do I know when the right time to reach out is? Quite frankly, you don't unless you go look or unless you seek, right? So we'll talk about you know, what the difference might look like if prospect leads are on their way up or moving towards buying. Do you only know that? Do you only know if they're on their way up or towards buying?
You don't, no.
Correct. You know, every lead is going to be, every lead that I catch is going to be at a different point in their journey. So in my mind, I try to keep this graphic as a visual, and then I'm trying to place a new relationship or an existing relationship where they may fall on that line. Because then that may dictate how I prospect or market to that person based on where they are. If they're riding the roller coaster down or riding it back up, or maybe they're right down to the bottom and they don't know if they're going to be one of those rides that goes backwards, or they're going to move closer, right? But based on my conversations and the questions I ask, is how I'm pushing towards that. So a good question is, who do we prospect for and when?
Everybody.
You got it. That's the only way you're going to be able to keep up with it, right? So session 5, where we talked about prospecting and marketing. The business should be prospecting based, but marketing enhanced. Why do you feel it is better to be prospecting based and marketing enhanced?
Well, prospecting is me reaching out to them, and I feel like a lot of the marketing, my opinion, is more them coming to you. Whether it's a signed phone call or them coming to the open house.
Yeah, I'd say, to your point, marketing's more of like a wait and see approach. And most of the time it costs money. Prospecting is me taking action to go meet people where they're at, and all it costs me is my time.
Right, and I as an extroverted extrovert like getting out and doing the door knocking or go, like, even I've seen a lot of movement with just going into the downtown Main Street areas and taking just a basic flag. I don't even have to have a listing, just telling who I am and maybe going into all the businesses and being like, hey, can I leave a couple of these?
Yeah.
And I've had actually a couple people take pictures of it and post it on their Facebook. So I don't even know them.
Yeah, and I think our last 2 segments have been open houses and social media. Open houses, I can prospect around the open house to help create awareness and drive traffic. Then I can also supplement that or enhance it with marketing to further the efficacy of my open house. Now, when I think about social media, that can be a prospecting tool, just as you found with your referral, and it can also be a marketing tool. So there can be some overlap there, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to look at the participant guide for the list of prospecting sources based on the MREA model.
Yeah, it's 9.5.
95 in the participant guide. So many prospecting sources to share your messages through. I would say go down through and circle the ones that you've tried, and then maybe put an underline or put a question mark or a star beside the ones you might be interested in trying. So just take a quick second and run through the list.
Yeah, my question, I was looking at this one earlier. Apartment complexes.
Mm-hmm.
Have you done door knocking there?
I have not, but I know people who have.
Cause I would be.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta be careful, and that might not be something that works for everybody. And you gotta remember too, it's been a little bit since the MREA was published, so some of these might be antiquated, right? And with a lot of the solicitation rules and guidelines, a lot of these apartment complexes probably don't want you blanketing their
That's what I was
community.
wondering.
Yeah,
They
so
don't mind if Pizza Hut does it, but if you go hang a bunch of
sure.
doorknob hangers, they might get a little angry.
Yeah, so I mean, I would say this list more so as it being like a checklist would be more of a ideation list of things that may work well. If you're doing circle prospecting and you're already doing neighborhoods or recently sold or recently listed, then I would say you've got enough activity there. You don't have to worry about apartment complexes as much. But I would say just looking at maybe what's missing from the list, I would add social media, because obviously we talked about, this book was published a while back, we may not have social media. So I would say make a note of what you think is your best approach to prospecting, and whether you have several sources or trying one source at a time, I would try to pick the one that you know you could give the most amount of time to, and then track what the results look like based on those activities, and that will tell you where your time is best invested based on what the outcome looks like.
Yeah, and just so you're aware, because I read through this earlier, tweeting, they have social media on 9/6.
Yep.
Under marketing, not under prospecting, so I will add it
Yeah,
to the prospecting.
I'd say you can certainly use it as a prospecting tool. I think the big challenge most people have is just making sure they maintain focus of what the direction of them being on social media is. If you're there to prospect and prospect, you start doom scrolling and not prospecting, then you may have to put it down and come back to it. Keller Williams surveyed their top agents and found that they focus on their top 4 sources and get their best return that way. The top sources are repeats and referrals from their sphere of influence in general, and their database. Everything else is going to be very low yield, high volume of activity, but the ones you already have relationship are going to be the best place to start.
Quick question, as I'm going through this prospecting, how long do you wait on the expired listings to call them?
I personally don't call expires, but I know
Oh.
people that do call them immediately.
I'm waiting too long.
Well, a lot of people have that same predisposed notion of, well, I'm just gonna wait a little bit. And usually it's speed to lead. Now, you want to obviously verify that that property hasn't been relisted. So there's ways you can check that easily with MLS or some of the dialing services, just to double check and make sure it hadn't been relisted. But most people who are calling as soon as they expire. And some of those scripts are even tailored to calling somebody immediately after it's expired. You know, hey, is this the property owner at 204 Elmwood? Yes, it is. And I was just wanting to make sure you were aware that your property is showing up as expired on the MLS. Well, no, actually, I'm not. Boom. You just opened the door. Well, what do you mean it expired? Well, it's no longer listed as active on the MLS. Well, I didn't know that. That sounds like a great reason for us to get together and talk. Looking at the list, I would say pick the sources that you'd be willing to consider, and you already have at least one down because it's your sphere of influence. So you're really just looking for 2 or 3 more on top of. So I'd say go ahead and circle the ones that you would consider pursuing. So since this session is about prospecting sources to think about and focus on, here's a list of the marketing sources for comparison. You could read through the list and quickly see what particular things you may do, but we won't necessarily elaborate on any since we've already had some of that. I know you mentioned in your guide they do have social media there on your guide. Okay, because the instructor guide you said social media may be missing. So nevertheless, it's there.
Marketing. Point 2, online advertising, they have pay per click advertising. SEO, which I'm not sure what that is, social media and portals.
Yep. SEO is going to be search engine optimization.
Ah, I learned something, here we go,
So there's going to be sources that will use both prospecting and marketing. For example, open houses, which we covered in session 7 on Tuesday. We'll talk about the geographic farming in a few slides, as well as seminars, events, and referrals. So what is a common prospecting method to use with open houses? You've already said you do this.
opportunities.
So door knocking, right? And then having something that you're going to offer. It's your opportunity to, 1, make the neighborhood aware of the open house, and then 2, invite neighbors to the open house.
Okay.
To meet you, see an active listing in the neighborhood, and in this scenario, maybe receive a free CMA. And what part of your job as a real estate agent does door knocking cover?
Marketing and prospecting.
Lead generation, right? Generating leads when you knock doors.
2 birds, 1 stone.
So let's get into the gold mine of referrals. I'd say most agents miss out on referrals, and yet they can be an easy and lucrative source of leads. Imagine if leads simply came to you as referrals from your sphere of friends, family, coworkers, neighbors, social media, etc. We'll talk about the different types of referrals and the systems that you can put in place that make the most out of referrals. We're going to look at client referrals, agent to agent referrals, worldwide referrals, and business to business referrals. So starting out, client referrals, as I mentioned earlier, the top agents that Keller Williams has polled rely on their sphere and their clients as the greatest source of referrals. Some agents even say 90% of their business comes from referrals. I'm one of those agents. All of my business comes from referrals. It begins with setting the expectation with your sphere that your business runs on referrals and that you trust them to provide referrals to people that they know who may need your help in real estate. Yep, so that's it, right? Not necessarily, right? I mean, some of them quickly, some of them a little bit slower, but I mean, like it said earlier, like I have to prospect everyone all the time. So,
One said, like, I'm not even saying.
yeah, I mean, it just all depends on like, right, if I go back to the slide of where people are at, I mean, it's not to say that there can't be a bunch of people who are here or here, right? So like I can't let the fact that they're not here on this graph yet deter me from still doing my job. So I have to just stay consistent. Now I have to look for ways to be more intentional about how I reach out to them, but that doesn't mean just because they're not ready yet, I just forget them and move on. Because they will have a need, and at some point they will buy something. It's just whether or not it's gonna be with you or me, right? So I mean that would be the reason to keep staying in pursuit of those people, even though they may not be in the journey where they're at. So yes, you have to set the expectation, but then you most importantly have to provide value. So the biggest challenge for people that are in the season that you're in is continuing to provide value for those people as opposed to just saying, hey, just checking in, just following up. Nobody wants to just be followed up with or just be checked in on. They want to know, how can you help me? What do you have to offer me that I can help with? Or they need to be educated on the different ways you can add value to them other than just help them buy or sell.
Which comes into a very, your vendor list.
Correct.
Okay.
It's just it's a free and easy way for me to utilize my time and my resources and my network that will eventually lead to having the opportunity to win more business.
Well, and I'm sure not just that, but I'm sure your vendors are more willing to refer you.
Yeah, I mean, even if they don't refer me, they're more likely to give me preferential timing on when I need something, right? If I call them and I have an inspection that I have to get responded to within 3 days, they may be busy as all get out and still get me an answer to my question because they know I am a lead generator for their business as much as I am for my own. So some different ways you can provide value besides the 3 that are listed on the slide. So on the slide, always providing value, share your KW app, share market statistics, provide a vetted vendor list. So obviously my thought is not original. Somebody else has clearly done it way before I had and will continue to do it way beyond me. But other ways is being a problem solver. So if they have a problem, hey, what problem are you facing that I can help you solve? Providing elevated service. If you simply provide elevated service, you will win out more often than not because most people cannot provide service whatsoever, let alone elevated service. And then just being caring and supportive, right? Just I dumb all that down and just be a good human being, be a good friend, be a confidant, be a resource. So getting referrals does mean asking for them, not just one time, but every time you connect, especially after you provided value. So once you've sent them a vendors list, hey Ben, I'm so glad I could get Joey out there to check that ceiling fan for you. Is there anything else I can do to help, or do you know anybody else who could use my help? And I typically fall back on the fact that most people are not naive to the fact that I'm not calling them to say, hey, who else can I send a ceiling fan installer to? It's who else can I utilize my network to help them that may eventually have a real estate need.
He may not need a fan, but he might.
Yeah, or he might just be like, man, I feel like every time, like, the best thing I can have a prospect or a client say to me is like, man, I feel like you're always giving me stuff and I'm not giving you anything back. Well, you know what?
Give me a referral.
Boom. I work on referrals and trust. So if you know anybody else who I can help, especially with real estate, because that's where I run a business off of, I'd love the opportunity. I'd say one thing that a lot of people just don't take advantage of is when a client expresses gratitude or they're happy and excited, that is like being aware or like using that hunting reference again. Like if I'm hyper aware and I'm alert and somebody expresses gratitude or they're really happy about something, using that as an opportunity where euphoria is set in for that person, that is the time to ask for a referral. So timing, right? It's all social programming or cognitive recognition of when there is the right there's a there's a
When
time
you think
to
it's going right.
well and it doesn't just have to be when things are going right, but like that's certainly a piece of it, but like when is the time right for me to ask for a referral? Right? If they just had to have their animal put down, I'm probably not asking for a referral. Now I might love on them and send them some kind of a thinking of you during this difficult time. And then when they express gratitude for that, I can just say, hey, I'm certainly glad that that worked out how it did. If there's ever anything I can do to help, please let me know. Now I'm not made about real estate, I'm made about helping. And I always like to think people aren't dumb. They know what I do. Oh, this is still on the same slide. Sorry.
Where are you going, John? Look at him.
We talked about this some, but just ways for when you receive that referral and it turns it whether it turns into business or not, it's important to reward the behavior for providing a referral. So it can be as simple as a coffee, treat the referral source even better than the referral. Many agents track people down who provide referrals, or they track the people who are providing the referrals by marketing them in their database and continue to reward them through the relationship. So if you've got some kind of a tag that you can put on them as like referred me or referral source or an allied resource, then spend time when you're prospecting and marketing on loving on those people. So all those vendors that are on my list, well, they get invited to client events. They come to Pi Day. They get a magnet mailing. We wish them happy birthday. We wish them a happy new year. So they are treated as though they're clients, even though we never may get a piece of business from them. One year I had custom rocks glasses made, like bourbon rocks glasses with my logo on them, and gave them to every single one of my vendors. It cost me, some money, but I have still to this day vendors who will send me a picture after a long ass week drinking a bourbon out of their rocks glass with my logo. But then I also have been at somebody's house for an event or a party and they get those out and they're like, damn, how do I get that glass? And they're like, well, you got to send this motherfucker a bunch of business, And so then they start marketing for me.
Yeah.
Right there. And they're like, I want to get one of those. I'm like, there's an easy way to do that. Send me some business. Right. And they know I'm just joking, tongue in cheek when I say that, but they also know I'm kind of not. Right. Like, you want to be treated like a VIP, then act like a VIP. Make sure I've not skipped anything.
A couple of these slides when I was going through them, that one's blank. It doesn't do anything.
On the agent to agent,
Yeah.
there's some notes in here, so I can help fill in some of those blanks. So always using it as an opportunity to meet other agents. So other agents in other markets is a great way. So KW Family Reunion, KW Mega Agent Camp. I've got 2 referrals open right now with agents that I've met anywhere between 7 and 10 years ago, and just kept a relationship. And they know that when they have somebody moving to Kentucky, they call me. Even if it's not my area, they know I keep an agent network wide enough that they may say, well, hey, I've got somebody looking to be in, I got somebody looking to be in Bowling Green. Do you service that area? Man, I really thank you for thinking of me that they may be looking to move into Bowling Green. I do not. But let me get you connected with my boy Alex, who runs a team down there, and see if we can't get you connected, set up, and taken care of, right?
Right. And I think that's what I'm looking forward to with this referral that I just did for my friend in Indiana. Cause I messaged her and she's like, yeah, we're getting ready to move back to South Carolina, so I contacted an agent down in South Carolina. A couple agents, and I picked one. And referred my friend to her, so she told me, hey, I know anybody moving to Kentucky, I'll.
Right. So you just kind of create that own built-in network of referral sources across the areas that you get asked for. You know, for whatever areas somebody might be looking for. And if you don't have somebody, that's an opportunity to find somebody. And then many KW agents will build their business with agent referral business. You can too. You just have to have a system. So an agent referral might look like you know, when they send you something thanking them. But if you're in these Facebook groups and you see somebody else that's like, hey, I'm looking for an agent in South Carolina, and you know somebody, tag them and love on them. Hey, every time I send business to them, they are taken very good care of. And feel free to call me and I can give you my clients as reference for who that person is. Well, if you love on that person, expecting nothing in return, they're going to thank you for that and be more likely to send you business. So reviewing the agent to agent referral models, begin by growing the agent referral network, manage so you're systematically touching that agent referral network and being, you know, purposeful about it, right? Having some intention between those relationships you've got, making it reciprocal. So tagging in Facebook posts, making sure that they are publicly loved on for the work that they've done. Maybe you go on their Google page and say, I'm a realtor in Central Kentucky. And this agent in South Carolina, when I referred them my people, they trusted me enough to help them pick their agent there because I couldn't be there with them. This agent did a phenomenal job. And from one professional to another, I can't tell you how much that means to me. Then, hey, what did you just get the opportunity to do? Reach out to them and say, hey, I just want to make sure you saw that Google review I put on your page. When you get a second, I know you're extremely busy taking care of all those referrals I sent you. Would you mind jumping on my Google page? And just loving on me as a person, right? That's a free review. Maintaining, keeping your network up to date, staying in communication. It just takes time to maintain those relationships, but staying in contact with them. There's a very easy to use agent referral network on command. So if you want to work inside of command on the referrals, you certainly can. We won't dive super deep into that, but you can track the domestic migration and the referral heat maps on command. Worldwide referrals. So beginning in 2022, KW had a presence in 50 plus regions. So it's not just limited to the United States, but if you have friends moving out of the United States, you can also utilize KW worldwide for those referrals. Business to business. This is one that I built my business on. So another source for referrals that I think everybody should be doing is business to business referrals. So have you ever recommended any of the following to your clients? Hairdressers, barbers, obviously from cosmetology. People have recommended you. You've asked to be recommended in that space before. A dentist, a doctor, a vet, accountants, financial partners, auto repair shop, handyman, plumber, electrician, gardener, landscaper. Going down and creating a list of people you think others may ask you for would be a great way to start building business to business referral network. So you're referring your acquaintances to businesses that you have come to respect and trust. That's a one-way referral. The game in that would be, how do I make that reciprocal? Hey, for every person I sent you, would you mind trying to find somebody to send me?
Which kind of leads into the whole, what is that called? The referral group
Yep.
that's here in Lexington.
There's several different ones. B&I is a popular one. But if there's referral groups that you can get in, that'd be a great way to build that network. Because that's what those referral groups are built on, is keeping referrals inside of that network. I've kind of created my own, just like my business, the people that I do business with. So like, I personally have never joined one of those because unless I could create a group and get all my people to join it, then it would not do me as much service in that group, because I would feel like I was letting that group down because I couldn't always send all my referrals to one HVAC person. But that being said, if you don't have multiple people, you're looking for ways to create a system out of it, that's an easy way to go ahead and just dump that into a system and work that small group until you built a big one.
Okay.
So refer clients to their business. And then business owners refer clients to you. A handyman you've often referred to is hired by a person who's fixing up their house in preparation for listing it. The handyman lets you know, and then you can connect with the potential seller, right? So try to turn your participant guide and just make a list of businesses that you'd like to connect with and let them know that you're a real estate agent. We'll just take a couple minutes, and if you have some time, if you've done that already, just write down some people. Maybe if you want to try to find 5 or 10 that would be good people to start referring business to. Take just another minute to finish up, and then we'll jump into some more sources for referral. All right, so make a little dog ear on the page, maybe come back there and just keep working on that list. There's a list in the bold book where it works on that, and actually kind of it's like a brain like a brain enhancer exercise, if you will, but it goes ahead and lists all those out, and you can go down and try to put being on the side of
I
it.
think there is another section here, because I feel like that list that we were already working on, I think it was in one of the, it might be the one that Dustin did.
Yeah, I'd say just dog ear both of those, and then when you get some time, like that's basically letting you build your
Yes,
vendor list, right?
Your sphere of influence.
Yeah.
Actually has some of those on.
Yeah, and there's tons of different resources online, you can find them as well. So I would say, moving into some of the more sources that we're looking at, we'll take a look at some additional prospecting sources, specifically geographic farming and events and seminars. So starting out with geographic farming, a collection of homes, a neighborhood that an agent chooses to focus their marketing and prospecting efforts. So many agents will choose to focus their agents on one of these. Is everyone familiar with the neighborhood website called Nextdoor? Heard of Nextdoor before? The
Yes.
geographical farm is similar. It's that it's essentially targeted messaging within a neighborhood, right?
Mhm.
So when you choose to farm a neighborhood, you're going to be aware that it may not yield immediate results. This lead source in specific is a long game. You must be committed to working your farm once you begin.
And I'm in next door. I haven't had a lot of luck with it. It's a lot more neighbors just complaining, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, sometimes those can be a little bit distracting. So I try to just look at that as that is a digital platform that a company has looked to monetize based on, how they want to target that because they can sell ads to that space, right? But you can create your own experience in that farm, just knowing again that it is a long game. You're not going to see immediate results. You have to be committed to farming an area for at least 12 to 18 months before you may expect to see anything out of it. So again, you're gonna spend time and money in that farm before it turns anything out.
Yeah, cause I've been a little disappointed. I've sent out two mailings worth of postcards in the last 8 months to my neighborhood and I've been. And like, nothing's happening. I'm just gonna keep going.
Yeah, I mean, there's some agents that send 2 postcards a month for a year before they get anything.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things you just gotta be committed to doing it consistently over time before it yields something. Cause I get 3 or 4 postcards a week about properties that I don't want me to sell it. Knowing I'm never selling it, but they keep sending them, right? So it's consistency. But somewhere, somehow, they may be able to go ahead and find somebody who's ready to sell right now. So we're gonna look at ways you can maximize your prospecting efforts in the geographical farm. Thinking back to some of the lessons from open house and social media, also considering your success system, daily success system, and your conversations, adding contacts to your database, also sending out notes inside of that farm. So I would say just starting to set up a plan with just a few houses. So looking at like the neighborhood you're considering already, looking at the areas you may door knock, visiting neighbors, introducing yourself as a resourceful agent, not being pushy, but coming from contribution and offering something of value. Something like, did you know homes in our neighborhood are selling in less than 30 days? That home over on Mayberry just sold for 350,000. That means home values are going up. Vendor referrals. My clients seem to like ABC company, right? So this vendor list we just talked about, being able to offer those in that general vicinity or in that neighborhood you're farming might be a good one. General info on the area, whether there's new construction, future construction, road changes, changes in building code or permits, just things that have been listed here. Setting up a discount with a local vendor for the neighborhood to be used for tree trimming, dryer vent cleaning, chimney cleaning. Individuals pay for their own service, and you get everyone's contact information to coordinate with the vendor. So again, just ways to get creative on things to continue offering. Setting up a neighborhood food drive where you go around and pick up everything for delivery. It's going to get you FaceTime, and it's not going to be specific to a real estate conversation. Door knocking is useful for notifying neighbors of upcoming open houses, just listed homes, just sold homes, looking for listings for interested buyers, door knocking for charity drives, as we just talked about, if you're setting up one of those for the neighborhood, upcoming community events, community activities such as neighborhood watch or neighborhood cleanups. Always, first and foremost, keeping safety in mind. But maybe going with a fellow agent to knock your farm or theirs, maybe taking a significant other or a friend who's willing to watch from the car. There's
Don't
ways
get
to
the
be safe.
dog. I did the dog one time.
Yes. Well, you might have dogs that like to bark with other dogs, right?
Exactly. I did that once and I was like, nope, not doing this again.
So 2 final sources of leads are through events and seminars. So just being able to find another way to create some lucrative leads. Events or get-togethers organized and or hosted by you. Successful agents are very creative when it comes to events. Events are meant to attract leads and don't have to relate directly to real estate. Some ideas might be a neighborhood park cleanup. Asking people to join you. You supply the bags, the gloves, the water bottles, and ask for addresses to send thank you notes. Family front porch photos, setting up dates and times with those who participate, take the photos and text them the photo or email them the photos. You've got enough contact information to now add them to your database. virtual game nights, invite via social media, collect names and contact info and have fun. Just thinking about low cost ideas that will generate leads is the name of the game on events and seminars. Seminars are one we're getting ready to talk about. They can be great lead generators as well. One KW agent moved to a new city where they knew no one and began offering first-time home buyer seminars. They got immediate business from it. There's ready to go seminar materials on KW Connect. And if you can look at seminars as a way to diversify your database with different businesses or different types of people while expanding it, there are underserved communities in every region. So finding ways to intentionally learn about those communities and set up seminars to serve them. Innumerable examples of agents have already done this. They've built businesses by helping areas that other people don't spend any time in become homeowners. There might be certain demographics of people that don't know how to take advantage of becoming a homeowner, right? So being able to create, there's a large Somali population, many of whom were devout Muslims, and they hosted a training session with an expert on Islamic finance to better understand the community. Another agent who was fluent in Spanish started home buying seminars for Spanish-speaking title attorneys and lenders to help teach people about how to become a homeowner. And they were able to connect with them because they had the ability to speak Spanish.
And that would be something that you could pull other vendors into
Correct.
that do not.
Well, the biggest thing a lot of those folks struggle with is I don't know who to talk to. So you had people that knew how to do business and they could be the translator, the communicator. That'd be a very easy way to tie some of that business in. And we talked about this during the open house section, but leads are everywhere. So grocery store, coffee shop, sheriff stop, hair salon, dentist office, wherever you go, leads are there. It's about figuring out ways to hunt them or to get in a conversation with them is going to create business for you and your family to be able to better push you towards those goals. So we've talked about capturing leads everywhere and capturing every lead. So being able to take advantage of command and plugging those people in, having a lead generation plan. So connecting with your sphere, build and feed your database, capturing leads from open houses, building community with social media, and then capturing leads from that, executing a referral strategy.
And this is actually on 9/12 of the packet and actually like
Perfect.
tasks.
Yep. So just being able to have that plan, and then the next step will be putting that into your time blocks. All right, making sure you got time for it. So based on what you've been able to put down into notes from today, are there things that maybe you had not thought about putting into practice prior to today that you will now?
For me, probably the events and seminars.
Mm-hmm.
I think doing an event, even with a quote unquote sponsor or co-host to help with costs.
Yeah.
Would be good. So.
Well, a lot of these places where, they hire a bunch of, first time job, fresh out of college, it's their first job, or they're in a perfect demographic of people who either are going to be buying their first house or might be buying their second, like targeting those specifically and then bringing something of value, right?
Right.
Financial planner, a tax person, a lender, a title agent. There's somebody who can help facilitate that, but also subsidize some of the costs of that. I like it. Events and seminars are great.
Yeah, and I think the other one that we didn't talk about it, but it's a seminar for like first responders, because like, like there are loans
Absolutely.
here for them that aren't available to most people.
Yeah.
So doing something for like the fire department or the police department.
And they would sure love some food. Those guys love to eat, guys and gals. Awesome.
Thank you, Sheridan.
Yes, ma'am. We've got the daily success system, so
Yeah.
looking at ways we can put the team conversation, add team contacts, do our notes, working our team 5-1 social media. And then some enrichments, maybe just working on the plan, figuring out how to do it, and then putting it into the calendar.
And then it has, in the generation plan. It actually has like severe database, open house, and social media, and then it has a place where you're supposed to put the day.
Yeah. So if you're a pen and paper person, put it right there. If you're digital, being able to go ahead and pop it in the calendar.
Then,
Yes, ma'am.
day,